.410 Productions proudly presents the What's in Your Head podcast.
Digitized live from the ACT Computer Studios in Cape Coral, Florida, it's the What's in Your Head podcast with your hosts Gordon and Don Abernathy.
What's up, OG5? We're back after a 2 weeks long vacation. Long for some of y'all, longer for some of us. But yeah, welcome back. Sorry, getting text messages from clients in the middle of the opener of our show. But Gordon, how are you? There he goes again, ladies and gentlemen, failing at his job. He didn't tell me to record, and then the first syllable out of his mouth was him burying the needle. But anyhow, friend, how are you?
We didn't do a mic check today.
Microphone checker 1 2 1 2.
That's on us.
Consummate professional, sir. I don't need to do a lousy mic check. This is my third podcast in 4 days.
Then you should be all practiced with the OSB recording.
Yep.
OBS recording.
Speaking of OBS, so OBS, open source broadcast, whatever the S stands for. Not like I'm a computer guy or anything. I noticed a while back when I would log into the old TikTok from my computer so we can record the TikTok lesson of the week, that TikTok happily and proudly announced, we have the TikTok Windows desktop app. You can now live stream from your computer.
So they can spy in your desktop where all the good information's at.
So we can now live stream from our computer, our laptops, so we don't have to put our phone on a tripod and burn down our battery and have our phones overheat and, I don't know, perhaps maybe even broadcast from a well set up podcast studio such as this. And that lasts about a week until they got their shit shut down because apparently it was they literally stole the programming from OBS, and OBS smacked their dicks with a cease and desist because they didn't follow the rules of an open source software. I mean, they completely changed the interface. It just said TikTok all over. The whole interface was completely different. But I guess the streaming side of it, where you put in your stream key and the streaming software side of it, not the interface, but the streaming side was basically their code, and they didn't follow the guidelines to the open source software agreement, not like the Chinese we know. And so, so they got their pee-pee smacked, and they shut that shit down. So now if you can find the installer and you launch it, it says, streaming services not available.
At this time.
Yeah. So it's like, why don't you just tell people, hey, download OBS, here's your stream key, because that's what everybody's been looking for the last 2 years anyhow. Instagram does the same thing. Instagram will not release an RSS stream key that you can put into an OBS or into a Restream.io so that you can broadcast on their platforms as well. But anyhow, that's neither here nor there.
Speaking of streaming, I have cut the cord. I'm all 100% streaming now.
The umbilical cord?
Well, the dish cord, which is a pretty short cord. It's probably shorter than what actually comes into my house for the internet. And I started to watch. I found out that I'm overwhelmed with the amount of shows I need to now catch up, especially since I picked up Paramount Plus.
Okay, before we get too deep into it, my whole hypothesis has been with this whole cutting of the cord is by the time you pay the $80 or $90 a month for your internet, and then you pay the $7 a month for, or $19 a month, whatever it is for Netflix, or a year, whatever the price is, the $4.99 for Disney Plus, the $5 for Discovery Plus, the $7 for this plus, that plus, everything a plus, that at the end of the day, it's going to shake out to about the same monthly bill.
Well, actually, we were saving about $40 a month.
Nice.
And this is getting the extra pluses. So we got the Hulu, the full boat, $69 a month with live TV, which, to be quite honest, it's like watching cable without the really bullshit channels. Mm-hmm. It is a little different because everything's alphabetical in the menu, you know.
I don't mind that because I've always thought it was weird. Like, it's almost like, and I can't prove this, but it makes sense that going back to the advent of cable, that it was like the less money you pay, the higher number you got on the cable box, at least in the old days. Remember the good days when you would get a cable box or satellite dish and all the reputable stations were at the low, and then they would hide all the porn stations at the end. So when you're looking through
Yeah.
the guide, you see super hot wet MILFs. But nowadays, Comcast puts it in the middle between, like, oh, I don't know, Fox and fucking Nick at Night, so that when your 12-year-old kid is browsing through the guide and they're going from their local stations before they get to Nickelodeon, MTV, Comedy Central, they have to pass descriptions of, like, my hot wet daughter's neighbor's kids, uncle's grandmother and shit. It's like, why don't you guys bury that shit at the end?
I haven't even seen that on Dish, and I'm wondering with the with Pornhub and everything else, is that even a thing now?
Oh yeah, you still have the Playboy and the Spice channels and all. Well, I think they're accommodating the old folk. Now I don't know, and I'm not going to drop the bomb.
Or the kids, because there's no more looking for that nipple in the squiggly lines.
Here's
Right?
what I don't understand. There's a let's just say an adult bookstore out on a road down on the way out of Cape Coral. And
No, was this a store that burned down?
No, this is an adult bookstore that shares a name with a club off of The Sopranos, and that's as far as I'll go on that. And there's always cars parked out there. And I'm like, what exactly is going on in that place? There's got to be more than meets the eye, because how many people are
think so.
still buying over-the-counter frickin' DVDs? I mean, I doubt there's that many people lined up to buy sex toys. It's like, is there like something like a live show in the back that no one knows about? There's got to be something going on in that place. Because like you're saying, with Pornhub and all that, why have the shit on the cable network? Well, clearly they're either they got to be accommodating a certain demographic,
Yeah, probably the perv supreme demographic.
or the old
But,
school to Supreme, who that's just what they know, right?
Yep. So at the end of the day, though, because I did adjust my internet service to Gigablast, I'm paying about the same now. But I was able to get better internet, which hopefully this will make this better. And then, all that. But what two shows.
Hold on,
I'd
before just to put a little stopping point in there, or not even stopping point, but to add on, because that's the thing I've discovered with Comcast. It's like, you call up Comcast, you're like, oh, I've had enough for this. You're charging me too much. I'm going to drop my cable TV. I see I'm paying. They basically have a base price, and regardless of what service you drop, whether it's your cable or the internet, whatever you're left with is going to be the most expensive of the price.
Well, Dish was not happy. They fought, and they kept saying they would say stuff like, there's buffering. I was like, here, let me stop you right there, because I know you're reading a script. Said, I've been streaming stuff for several years now on the side, paying for extra services, and it's to the point now, even with my second from lowest level, come to find out, internet, the buffering was like 10 seconds at the beginning, and then everything else was fine.
I will say your Zoom picture does look better, and I don't think we'll get the occasional max headroom green flicker that we
Well,
used to
hopefully
get on the
not.
screen.
As my upload speed should be about 35.
What's up, Morgan
So-
Long? What's up, John Kraft, OVG5?
Yeah,
Hey, John, I have your all's stickers. Actually, Nuggets peeling apart the OG5 stickers. I got the What's in Your Head stickers ready to mail out, but I wanted to include some OG5 stickers, so Nuggets pulling those apart. So I've been threatening to send them to you guys, and we will get back to those.
But at the end of the day, we paid $200 to get away.
So anyhow, the
And
streaming shows that you want to talk about before we forget and pass
the
on.
streaming shows, I will tell you what. I have especially by second episode. I'll tell you what.
I tell you what.
1883 has to be, and I'm not going to any spoilers, but I will say that this is probably the best acting I've ever seen Sam Elliott do.
Well, it's funny because we were trying to figure out what to watch before we came on the show tonight, because I had an hour to kill. I was like, well, let's watch the Free Putts 1883. And Carrie's like, why? We don't have the service, so we're going to get addicted to one episode and try to figure out we want to spend $9 a month on fucking Discovery Plus. So we want to watch
Paramount, yeah. Oh, by the way, but it was the finest acting I've ever seen him do, and I dare say from episode 1, especially going into 2, I think the writing's already far superior to Yellowstone.
Oh, I'm sure. And Carrie did not believe that the guy who plays Dutton was what's his dick, the country singer. She said, don't look anything like him. I'm like, well, you ain't seen him in 20 years. And that's his wife too.
And then I watched a show I haven't watched in 10 years plus. South Park, post-COVID. I sent you a couple of things on it.
Yeah.
I tell you, Matt Parker and Trey Stone, they're still smart. And they were all over it. I think I even heard the word face diaper in there somewhere. But just the stuff they were talking about, and yes, Kenny does die. Surprise.
But does he die of COVID?
Well, there is I will do it because it is South Park, and who gives a fuck about
So you're
spoilers?
not going to spoil alert for me. I stopped watching that show when every single episode was about the devil and Saddam Hussein. They got so
Yes.
lazy 20
That's
years ago.
when I did too, but
So,
now
holy
they've
fuck,
unlazied
another episode
themselves.
of this?
So Kenny ends up a very wealthy philanthropist. If you think about it, because he was an inventor and he was a scientist. And let me give you a backstory. Post-COVID COVID comes to an end, but it's been 40 years. So they're all older, late 40s. Stan's a drunk. Cartman's a rabbi.
That's
saw that
surprising
coming.
because what did he do, convert?
Uh,
He was always
Well,
calling
yes.
Kyle a stupid
And-
Jew.
Oh, and because of that, Kyle thought that Cartman was fucking with him the whole time until he met his wife and his children, who all have Hebrew names. Kenny was a wealthy, very wealthy inventor, scientist guy. And if you think about it, who had all the ideas as a kid?
No,
Kenny.
Never understand.
Kenny always said, let's do this, right? Now, you don't hear him talk. You barely see his face because he's got a blonde beard. But yeah, he goes back in the past to try to find out. And this is at the end of 40 years. What happened? Where did COVID come back? In the process, it vaporizes everybody in his lab. He comes back and he coughs because he got COVID when he went to the past. So then a new variant comes around called Chimicron, which is nice, recent with the Omicron shit going on. And, they locked down the town because one person wasn't vaccinated. So it was pretty good, but they go even into NFTs. And I wish I could have found the clip. And basically, remember Butters?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he becomes a guy named, with a different name, Victor Chaos.
Well, he was
Victor
always Captain
Chaos.
Chaos.
Huh?
He was always Captain Chaos when they were playing.
Well, he was Victor
He
Chaos.
always he had a
And Victor
tinfoil
Chaos sells NFTs. And because his sales spiel is so good, they locked him away because they considered him dangerous. And then NFTs are basically the newest pyramid scheme of all pyramid schemes. It's not that they become valuable, it's because they're valuable to him for selling them to all these unwitting people.
Yep.
And it was right on target. Current. I'm actually glad I watched it. There's actually 2 episodes, 1 hour each. But yeah, God. But as for the streaming services, I'm glad I went this way. One of the things I did notice, and I had a feeling, and it's one of the reasons I switched, is as we've been streaming the last couple of years, especially after we got a 4K TV and paid a little extra that T-Mobile didn't pay for our Netflix, the image quality is fantastic. And to the point where I'm like, it is better than Dish, big time.
It's funny because I got the TV in our living room that Stan gave us, and it was the Quanos model, whatever it was. It was the one that actually had RGB Y, actually had the yellow scheme in it too.
Uh-huh.
And compared to the other decent TV in our bedroom, like the picture's so much different because the whole gimmick was it really didn't take off, and neither one of them are 2K or 4K. They're just HD TVs. But you can turn on the same program, the same channel, and walk from my bedroom and look at the one that actually does the RGBY. The picture is so much because instead of generating a yellow by mixing the color, it actually has a yellow, and the picture's just outstanding. So I can imagine what your 4K stuff looks like.
Yeah, and on streaming, even regular stuff, Dish was great because it auto-hop this and that, but the image quality always kind of was super compressed. Things would distort this and that, and it was just getting tired of it, to be quite honest. So
How is your refresh on your TV?
it's pretty fucking good.
Because my buddy Zach has a nice TV, but whenever he's watching like something that's got a high motion, it still pixelates. And it's like, that thing's only a year old. It's like, it was the top of the line. It's like, that drives me nuts when these super fancy TVs can't handle the panning of a camera across the football field or
Well, and
a
also
racetrack.
that could be the cable service or the dish service too, if it's not streaming, because they've only got so much to work
Nah,
with.
he actually has. He switched to the direct streaming service where it comes over the internet instead of through a satellite dish.
Oh, okay.
Because we're here in Florida. While we're on that topic, I'm
It makes sense.
gonna skip 7, 8 down the list of shit because we're talking about TV shows, and this is so dumb. So you're watching a show, right? It's trending, and everybody's watching it. And you're watching, you're kind of enjoying it, but you start to complain, and someone says, "Hey, it's a stupid TV show." Yeah, they've laid the groundwork since episode 1 that this is a stupid TV show, but enjoy. And so this sparked a segment I don't have any openers for. Maybe this will be a one-off, or maybe we'll do it every other week if we have new ones. But this is called Speed Bumps in Dumb Movies. And what I mean by this is you've accepted the fact this is a dumb movie, but it's fun. The plot's dopey as shit, but it's fun. It's on the nose. It is what it's supposed to be. But for some reason, out of all the dumb shit that you're willing to overlook, all the suspension of disbelief that you've surrendered to, there's just something dumb in the plot line that just irks the shit out of you, that really makes no fucking never mind, because after all, it is a dumb show. And that is, for me, Cobra Kai.
Yes, it is so predictable.
That's not, and you're kind of building my case. It's predictable, but it's a dumb show. It's been on the nose. It's been making fun of itself since the first episode where they did
And
this. And he said,
It's got that 80. It's still got that 80s rhythm to it.
but you know what drives me crazy about the show, and why that's so? What drives me crazy? So dumb that it drives me crazy that anybody listening, like, why the fuck you're stupid for getting hung? The stupid little thing that gets me hung up on.
See if it's the same as me.
Okay, spoiler alert if you haven't seen season 1 or season 2.
Fuck them.
So Johnny loses Cobra Kai to his old sensei
Imagine that.
because the writer said
To the super evil guy?
that the sensei went and talked to his skeevy landlord and took over the lease. That's fine. I don't have no problem with that. And so Johnny
Wonder
walks
where
away
Sensei got the money.
from the Cobra Kai. Even if they're getting, okay, fine. The landlord, you have the physical building. But who do you know down at the California State of Business Licensing that you got the registered state license plus business EID number and federal tax ID number put in your name? So you can take the fucking building, but you don't get the business.
Details. You don't have to worry about the details.
You
I
don't
thought
get the
the same
tax
shit.
exempt ID. You don't get the doing business as under the bank account because, as they showed in season 1, some of those kids were paying membership fees.
You know what they actually call that here in Las Vegas?
What's that?
A fictitious business name, your DBA.
Well, and it's called that too, because it's Act Computers is our DBA, but we have our own LLC name. But and so to me, it's like, so you took his storefront, you didn't take his business. Now he's in a fucking abandoned building with his eagle claw fang dojo, because after all, his other dojo was taken. Somehow, so was the business license name, the bank account, and all that. And so they want to show how he's dirty poor, and they got the kids working out with literally sandbags. But then up on
You
the
ever
wall,
wonder where Crease got his money?
But up on the wall is this huge, giant eagle claw fang sticker that would probably cost about, I don't know, $5,000 to have printed up in a print shop and slapped on the side of this concrete building that you don't own. But that's all right, Johnny. We know you're poor. So all the rest of it I can get behind. The kids, the 25-year-olds playing high school kids, the fighting in the school where there's no fucking cops on the premise, especially in fucking L.A., no teachers around. I can get behind all that. But the fact that he allegedly stole his business and that Johnny can afford a $5,000 sticker to slap on the wall when he's poor and making the kids work out on old mechanic scrapers, yeah.
Suspension of disbelief can get very difficult at times.
That's why I said it's a speed bump in a
The
dumb
only
movie.
problem I have with 1883 is sets are perfect. Everything's perfect, but the main stars have pearly white teeth.
Mm-hmm.
And that bumps me. And I know it shouldn't. Now, they'll show bad teeth on the bad guys or, some derelict in the bar. But the main principals all have pearly white teeth.
Well, it's funny you say that.
It doesn't exist in 1883.
It's
At least
funny-
yellow them.
Exactly, and it's funny you say that because I told Kara, I would love to get on Big Brother or a reality TV show just for one episode. Because if you
Get your teeth whitened.
every one of those motherfuckers either get their teeth whitened or they come on with fucking veneers. A lot of those cats have full blown veneers on there. It's like, wow,
Fuck veneers.
if I can get on a reality TV show just to get my teeth fixed, I'll show up for half an episode and get to kick the fuck off. Sign me.
You still got a full head of teeth, don't you?
I do, but they could, they could be cleaned up and shiny and whitened and all that shit. And, I'm sure they fill some cavities while you're in the chair. So, I would love to get on a reality show just to get my grill fixed. That'd be fun.
Absolutely. But, nah, so far so good. I'm not getting any lag. I know she's streaming shit. So this is all moves in the right direction.
We're going to start off early because, it's a new year and it's a new season for this show. And,
And now for the What's in Your Head podcast TikTok lesson of the week.
this is a long one.
Oh, boy.
Here we are in BP petrol station. He's not letting me pay. He's requesting that I sign in before I can pay for my petrol.
Sign in.
I'll explain when it's done.
Are you going to let me pay or are you giving this to me for free? Are you going to let me pay or are you giving this to me for free?
The law states you must sign in.
That is the legal system. This is ridiculous.
Sign in.
Alright, so you want me to bring cash from now on?
No, I know what you've been said. You slammed down on the account last time I did you a drive off.
So are you giving me this petrol for free?
No, I'm not. You're being recorded, everything you say and do.
You're being recorded as well. You're not letting me pay.
I'm not stopping you to pay, I'm just telling you. Sign in.
You are stopping me from paying. Please enable the amount that I've been charged.
You pay, don't ever come back in this
I think this may be Australia.
I'm thinking so, too. I was trying to figure it out.
all BPs. We'll go through tonight.
You
I
get the
don't think
gist
so
of
either,
the
but
idea. There's
you're
still a
gonna
minute
pay.
left. Basically, he lives
You
in
got
a
to sign in the pay.
he basically lives in a weird city or state or country that doesn't enforce prepaid gas like everybody here in the United States, right? But I think it's Australia because they're the ones going over the fucking deep end with the COVID policy. Basically,
That's because it's a
the jux of this
colony.
video is you pull up, you pump your gas, and then you go in. And before you can pay for the gas, you have to check in with your COVID vaccination app. You have to scan the Quirgy code so they can trace your movements throughout the city. And this guy's not signing in. And so you hear the BP guy say, sign in. And he's like, I just want to pay for my gas. He's like, sign in. He's like, is the gas for free? No, it's not. Well, then let me pay. And
Do they not pay at the pump?
long story short, apparently not. At the end, he's like, this is ridiculous. He's like, look, the gas clerk, he's like, look, it may be $100 fine for you, but it's a $6,000 fine for me. So I don't want to say it's Australia. It's either Australia or some European country, but anyhow, a place with that accent, if you don't sign in at your geographical locations with your COVID app, you can get fined $100, but the establishment can get fined $6,000. And at the end, the guy gets frustrated, says, pay for your gas, but you can never come back to this garage again. So I think it may be over in Britain somewhere. It's Britain or Australia, one of the two.
Don, it's not about control. I swear.
it's not.
It's not about control. It's about our safety.
No.
It's about their safety. Just like Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of England, is getting raked over the coals, properly, mind you, because even though there was a ban on gatherings outside of more than 2 people, you had to be masked and socially distanced. He accepted a invitation and went to a party of 100 people
Oh, that fucker.
of government outside
That fucker.
because, and so I was listening to that on NPR today on my way to a job, and just kind of wanted to. I like to kind of listen from all angles, and my head about blew up because I'm like, well, it's not contagious outside. It's not, and one side was like,
doesn't matter.
it is, and they act like it's like the death of everybody. This guy is committing mass atrocities because he was outside in a party of people that were outside with no mask and not socially distancing because it's illegal, and they could get fined.
He
and
just
arrested.
hasn't. He just hasn't got his talking points updated yet. We're already seeing CNN and MSNBC saying that fat people get sick. They're finally catching on.
I
But
know.
I don't
remember
want
a couple of weeks ago, I even said we're going to start seeing the slow peeling back of that.
Yeah, I don't want to get caught up and scare people off with COVID talk. I just want to play that here. While we're on the TikTok lesson of the week, it's so interesting to me what goes viral. And in this case, one of my videos is semi-viral. I don't know what people's dictionary definition. To me, viral is like a million.
Have you hit
or
a
more.
million yet?
No, the highest ever has 500,000. That's why I said somewhat viral. But this is just a simple statement I made walking out of my garage. If you're new to Florida, welcome. Fun fact: if you leave your house and go out into public or Publix for at least more than an hour a day, I guarantee you've been next to somebody with a firearm. That's it. That's all I said.
It's a legit statement.
That's it.
How many
As
anti-gunners
of this-
come after you?
Actually, there's only been like 4. But this is what you need when you want a video to go viral. You need like 3 or 4 naysayers to create controversy, because then everybody who agrees with you starts having conversations with them, and every time they have conversation, it counts as a video view and engagement, and then TikTok shares it with more and more people. This video is about 6 days old, and as of show prep time, I'm at 39,000 views, which has spun off to this one guy whose name was, interestingly enough, named Confirmed Shooter, was saying I'm stupid, I don't know what I'm talking about, that Florida doesn't have open carry and most of the people who carry guns are illegal. So then I did a spin-off video showing diagrams from the Florida Fish and Wildlife, the amount of licenses issued in each age group, proving the fact. But
Did he finally lay down after that?
nah, people are arguing with him, and I just leave it alone because, like I said, the more they argue, the more engagements, the more views, and the more follows it comes.
I've done my job. You take care of each other.
I've gotten probably 150 to 200 subscribers off of that one video, so I'm letting that son of a bitch sail. But it's like, I didn't make a political statement. I just said, hey, welcome to Florida. By the way, if you leave your house and you're out around other people for at least an hour a day, you will be, and I meant to say within 5 feet of a firearm, but you will be around somebody with a firearm. And it's crazy how some of the comments people making, what's your fucking point? Blah, blah, blah. And then a lot of people, well, we have open carry here. It's like, well, yeah, well, we don't unless we're going fishing or coming home from fishing. But yeah, so.
You're not as free as you think, motherfucker.
Yeah. Somebody said, it's the Wild West in Florida. I said, not quite yet. But yeah, so that one's going.
Although they do have an open carry thing kind of being kicked around right now, I believe.
Yeah, they try to every few years, but, you know, it just never seems to get enough votes. I had two thoughts when I went to Subway the other day.
Mhm.
You and I are trying to eat better. I'm trying to lose some weight.
I'm down to counting calories again, which is a pain in the balls, and I'm fucking hungry. But if that don't work, I'm going to go back to keto.
I've
No sugar, no
increased my
grains.
fitness. We are 11 days in. I've already ran 17 miles this month. I've already ridden my elliptical bike 14 miles. I've already been to the gym twice, and whenever I go fishing, I don't count my kayaking miles unless I do a long paddle where it's 30 minutes or more. And so I registered 1 mile. And anyhow, so I've been trying to eat at home more, but on the occasion where we got to go out, I'm like, let's just go to Subway or let's go to Publix and get something.
Subway.
Well, this is my point. So I had 2 thoughts when I was at Subway the other day. One, if you're going to Subway and you're ordering anything other than a cold cut lunch meat deli counter sandwich, you're at the wrong fucking place, because their tuna looks horrible. Their steak is atrocious. Only thing that I get there, and I've been getting there since 1997, is I get a foot-long spicy Italian, which is just basically straight up lunch meat. That's what Subway started on before they had all this other shit they try to sell. And I'm looking, I'm like, if you come to Subway and you're getting tuna salad sandwich,
Yeah.
you're hurting yourself. If you're buying this steak flatbread shit, which my daughter buys, you're hurting yourself. Only thing worth getting at Subway is a straight up legit old school, old fashioned sub with the, the capricola and the whatever.
Spicy Italian or BMT. That's it.
And so I was walking, and I usually get a bag of chips and I get a bottle of soda or whatever, and I'm looking and I'm thinking, well, everybody, no sodas. No sodas, why not? Here's a crazy thought. Because we have home sodas. Home sodas? How dare you eat fast food with home soda? As if the home soda is not fucking better than this nasty ass fountain drink. Or why drink your home soda you already purchased when you can buy this 20-ounce bottle of store-bought soda? Why is it that when we go to fast food restaurants and we're taking that shit right home, is it because we need something for the ride? And if that's the case, why are we getting the extra larges? Do we as an Americans in the Western culture turn our backs with frowns on the home soda? What is wrong with the home soda?
I got one possible answer, and it's a stretch. It's the type and quantity that ends up being the ice and soda ratio.
But you're kind of proving my point that home soda is far better than the restaurant soda. But we've been so conditioned that we need...
Not proving your point. You can get a different ratio out of the ice in the ice machine than you can at home usually, because at home most people's got the really chunky ice, or if you grind it up, it's all shardy, you know.
Are you a 2-liter drinker?
No.
So you crack a can?
I prefer actually a can.
You crack a can and then dirty a glass? Well, because your explanation is talking about soda to ice ratio, as if you dump your soda into a glass and then put ice in it.
Thus meaning if there is no ice, there is no ratio. And sometimes it's nice to have a little ice. Ice is nice.
When you have glasses and ice and home soda, you can just pour your home soda into a glass and put the ice in it. It's just weird.
The ratio's off.
It's just weird that we have been conditioned that you must have a fast food soda to go with your fast food, even though you're driving straight home and eat it. Save some money. Save $1.05. Or if you're buying 3 of them, save $9.
I would like to add to that's actually what we'll talk about, your spicy chicken, since we're talking about fast food.
The spice. If you guys have been around long enough, you've heard me bitch and moan about how I at least make the proclamation that the chicken sandwich sold at Wendy's is not the chicken sandwich they have today. And I mentioned that I would probably do a YouTube comparison. Well, the YouTube chicken comparison video is up, and I had to cut my losses at a certain point. That fucking thing would go on for 5 more months and 28 more pounds.
You didn't know there was so much spicy chicken in the world. I would like to add, because I used to hate this place with a passion, Jack in the Box of spicy chicken can give Wendy's a run for the money. Number one, the spices are built into the breading. It's very similar. Number two, they're fucking chunky and thick.
Well, I think
juicy.
if we remember correctly, my end of the channel breakdown went as KFC, Popeyes, McDonald's McChicken, then Burger King, then the Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich, and then the McDonald's spicy chicken sandwich.
But I'd actually
and
put
then,
Jack in the Box at the top.
And Chick-fil-A is after Popeyes. So, Interestingly enough, the top 3 chicken sandwiches all come from chicken restaurants. Make perfectly good sense.
Better.
But I did make the observation that if you're doing a straight up legitimate spicy chicken sandwich, the only 2 that truly exist would be the Wendy's, the Chick-fil-A, and maybe the Burger King. I think all the rest of them are just serving a regular chicken sandwich with a spicy condiment. So they don't really. And I also said that the video is more about the quality of chicken, but since we started with a spicy chicken sandwich from KFC, I made them all spicy where they're all served. And also, the more interesting thing for me with that, forget the quality of the chicken, the price breakdown on who was actually more expensive. It was a lot different than you would think. I think KFC was like $1 cheaper than freaking Wendy's.
Like KFC, who historically has overcharged for chicken?
I think KFC and Popeyes, believe it or not, were cheaper than the other ones. I know one of them was like $9 and KFC was like only $8, and all of them were medium-sized combos. So I didn't get an extra large one day. They were all medium fries. And the price difference was interesting to me, that the chicken restaurants actually had cheaper chicken sandwiches than the hamburger restaurants, which I guess isn't too surprising because they get their chicken in bulk. But
Absolutely. Can we take a moment of silence? 2 talents we've lost since we've been off.
Sure.
Betty White, 99. She actually had a stroke 6 days prior to her death. And Bob Saget, who passed away in his sleep at the age of 65.
So did they make the announcement that he passed away in his sleep?
Yes.
Okay, because I was kind of concerned that maybe he went the Robin Williams route.
I thought that because they kept saying he was supine on his bed since day one, with one hand over his heart and the next one next to him. So I'm almost
attack?
thinking that he probably had a heart attack. No drugs, no alcohol in the system that they could tell, no foul play. I just think it was. I think somebody came along and said, "It's time to pull your card, bud."
Yeah, I guess.
And that's good, because to see such a raunchy comedian go out and not have really any, at this point, anything shady or scandalous attached to it is, I hate to say relieving, but it is.
Yeah,
you
and the
know?
cynic in you makes you think that now that people are gonna start talking and pulling his old content, that they're gonna posthumously cancel his ass for some of the content.
Have you ever seen him live?
No, but I've seen some of the videos.
Yeah, we saw him live about 10 years ago, and yeah, he's as blue can be, which is my type of humor. So
A gentleman by the name of Jimmy Galante bought his 17-year-old son his own hockey team. A gentleman by the name of Jimmy Galante bought
Sorry
his
about that.
17-year-old son his own hockey team.
I'm the president of the Danbury Trashers, and I'm 17 years old.
This was the largest investigation I've ever been a part of.
Jimmy was the real Tony Soprano.
We were the bad boys of hockey. A freak mix of pro wrestling and the Mighty Ducks.
I made it very clear, if you do something to embarrass this league, you're going to be dealt with.
It was a gangster mentality. Every player was getting paid under the table.
I'm supposed to say that or no?
We dominated.
It was a shit show.
I consider the team a family.
I didn't have to be a rocket scientist to assume that something bad was going to happen.
I watched this a few months back. It's been on my list a while. This is the Netflix series. The series of the show is called Untold. This particular episode, it's a docuseries that's called Crimes and Penalties. The Untold Crimes and Penalties, a 2021 American biographical documentary film made on Netflix and directed by Chapman Way and Michael Way. The film is the fourth installment, blah, 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 blah. This story focuses on the new defunct United Hockey League, UHL, ice hockey, team and the Danbury Trashers, which was bought by James Galante, as you heard, a mafia-connected trash kingpin and associated with the Giovanni crime family, who gifted the team to his 17-year-old son. Now, his son played hockey in high school. His son was a huge fan of the Mighty Ducks. He's of that age, but he got injured. Like, he was borderline, potential college career, but he got hurt, fucked up, and it killed his hockey career. And as the story unfolds, his dad buys his hockey team as a way to launder money for the mob. But he makes his 17-year-old son the owner-operator of this hockey league. And as you heard him say, he was a huge fan of WWF and the Mighty Ducks. And so he literally started hiring all these goons. And these guys would get under the table cash payments for fucking up other players. And so this docuseries going all about it, interviewing the players, the people, the FBI who was building the case against his dad and all that stuff. And it was just, and the guy you heard talking was the head of the UHL up in the Northeast, talking about if you embarrass us, blah, blah, blah. But by the end of it, he was a huge fan because the WWF side of this and the fights they literally had an entire season of sold out shows. They brought in so much money for the league and brought so much attention to it. But the insanity that was going on with his dad, and like you heard him say, his dad was the real life Tony Sopranos, and he actually had an autograph from James Gandolfini. He basically, back in the day, bought a trash truck and more trash trucks, and anytime any competition trash companies came to town, they would fuck them up mob style, and they got involved with the mob. And it's an insane movie. It's about an hour and a half. It's part of the Untold series. There's quite a few of good ones on there. But this particular one's called Crimes and Penalties. It's, if you like hockey, and it's like, I'm sitting there watching like, when was this? The name sounds familiar. And their logo is a old 70s style trash can with hands and like on ice skates. Like, did you Blades ever play them? It's because, it's about the same damn league. But yeah, It's a good one to watch. So check that one out if you guys are looking for something good to stream on Netflix or any of the other services. I watched a few good ones. I watched one about remember in the late 90s, the college basketball point shaving scandal?
Mm-hmm.
That they did one on that. There's a couple of good ones. One of Adam Carolla actually talked about the guy from Miami who was a big time pot and cocaine smuggler in the 70s and 80s. He used all his money to race cars and ended up running from the cops and getting arrested. He basically financed his own race team in order to, because racing's so expensive, the IRS is going to wonder where he got all his money. Him and his cronies, speaking of state business names, they would come up with like fake cologne perfume companies to be their sponsors and shit. And so that was a pretty good one as well.
I know we talked about watching that kayaking documentary.
Mm-hmm.
I just started another one called The Alpinist.
Okay.
Is it about this crazy no-name mountain climber, free climber, and his name is Marc-Andre. I forget his last name off the top of my head, but put that in your queue, The Alpinist. This guy's a little weird. But,
yeah, they usually are.
Definitely socially awkward. I know a lot about that. But yeah, it's nuts. Sorry, I'm looking at. I heard recently Vegas Golden Knights tickets were cheaper. Last time it was like $125 a person, and the same seat's now $48 a person again.
Oh, so much for his quality
Against the
internet,
fucking,
ladies and gentlemen. It
against
just dropped out. Your internet dropped out. Go back to the $40.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Are we back?
Yep. Your max headroom in a little bit.
All right.
Maybe my end. I don't know. But
Yeah,
go
that's
ahead.
interesting.
Start back at the $40 a ticket.
So it's dropped down to $48 a ticket to watch Pens. Watch the Pens play.
Nosebleeds,
That's
of course.
nosebleed. They used to be over $100 a ticket.
You ever been to you've been to a live game, right?
Yes, I have.
There's nothing better than a live hockey game. And
Especially a T-Mobile Arena.
nice thing about living, you ain't seen shit until you see the Amalie Arena in Tampa.
We have the loudest fan base in the league.
See, that's all I like
Period.
about Amalie Arena. Their acoustics are so fucking quiet that when you're in there, it sounds like you're in an empty gymnasium.
Mm-hmm.
And but when people start cheering, it's like an audible version of the wave. You can hear it coming around.
Oh yeah.
But the nice thing about living in Florida is we got the Tampa Bay Lightning, and then we got the Florida Panthers. Now, Stan and I would occasionally go to a Florida Panther show because, well, they're in Miami, and, well, let's just say the large population of the Miami community are more into soccer than they are hockey. So, if you're just wanting to see a live game, you really don't care who it is, and you compare prices between Tampa and Miami, and both of them are about the same distance from where we live, we would go to Miami games a few times just because they're a hell of a lot cheaper, and it was a lot, and you still got to enjoy the live NHL hockey.
Mm-hmm.
First time I went, I couldn't believe how fast it was because I'd been to hundreds of Everblades games. Here's a fun story. One of the perks of working in radio is they give away tickets to the local teams. Your Fort Myers Miracle, your Everblades, and we were the last show on the air. Once we went on, the secretary went home, the doors were locked. No one could pick up prizes after 5 o'clock. And so, day of game day, either Wednesday or Friday, the day would come, 5 o'clock would roll around, and you would have like 8-9 pairs left for that night's game. So what are you going to do? Throw them in the trash? Or call some of your friends and say, I got some free hockey tickets. Well,
Yep.
I had done this enough that I had burned through, Dad, Melody. They went to a handful, and then they got kind of, well, maybe next time. And it was closer for me just to hang out the radio station for an extra hour than drive to the hockey arena because it was literally 2 miles from the station. So my buddy John, who used to do data recovery before they invented hard drives over 500 gigs, he was a big Flyers fan, and which was funny because he'd have his Flyers jersey on, and I'd have my Penguins jerseys on, and people were like, how are you guys friends? The best time ever. It was a Friday. It was like a Wednesday night game. I had literally an entire row full of tickets.
Literally
Literally an entire row right behind the away team's goal. We would sit there and badger the do all the goon calls and badger people and get loud and obnoxious. And John was a huge hockey fan. He knew all the chants to bust the goalie's balls. And somewhere after the game started, maybe around second period, yeah, because we'd go outside and smoke and go to the bathroom and all that crap during the interchange. And we came back, and the row behind me, there was 3 people, and one of them was really, really, really fucking drunk. And every time we got in a fight or we scored a goal or did a good play, me and John would stand up. We'd start cheering. And, of course, me being 6'5", which I know you have this same self-consciousness about you. Like, when you go to concerts, you know people are staring in the back of your head. So you try to kind of stand in between people and give people...
Nope. Don't fucking care.
But anyhow, we're standing up, we're yelling and cheering, and I'm hearing this guy, "Wish you guys sit down." Shut up, Frank, shut up. And this went on for like 10, 15 minutes. And then he said the thing he shouldn't have said. "I don't know where you guys came from, but I bet those aren't even their seats." I looked at John, reached into my pocket, produced like 8 pairs of tickets. I turned around. I said, "You know what, sir? This is my seat. That's my seat." I started making it rain with tickets. I said, "That's my seat. That's my seat." I said, "This is my entire fucking row." Shut up. And his people looked at him and said, they finally went up and moved like 4 rows back. Greatest sporting story of my life. I was able to claim, not only is this my seat, this is my entire fucking row.
That one time you could show that you're balling.
I was like, fucking that, pulling out
You just
tickets.
made it rain, huh?
My whole fucking row. Shut up. Where did you come from, by the way? Is those your seats? My question.
Matter of fact, if I get you to be quiet, I'll give you the 2 furthest from me.
Yeah. The only thing that would have been great is, matter of fact, that's my fucking row too. Get the fuck out of here. That would have been hilarious. But yeah, that was like the best. Like, bitch, that's my row too. You ever made a mistake watching a video on YouTube that maybe the content's not something that you would normally watch? Which, by the way, our father sent me a zip popping video on TikTok the other day, but that's neither here nor there. So I was on YouTube.
I hate when those pop up. Sorry, pardon the pun, but and then you're like, you want to get away, but then you're like, I almost want to see it, and then you get right at the beginning.
I don't mind those so much, but it's kind of weird to have somebody send you one. I
Yeah,
was
it is.
scrolling through my phone. I think I was on the shitter. Like
I'll send one to
usually
my
am.
wife because women like to pop zits. But
And I see this video, and it's of a cow hoof, and it's like Ned the Hoof Doctor or whatever, and he's a farrier. He goes around to these cattle ranches and slaughterhouses, and he fixes the feet of these cows, and he's got his fucking angle grinder, and he's sanding them down. He's got his knife, and he's cutting down deep, and he's finding these cracks and these infections and all that. And it was an interesting video. I watched it all the way through. This cow had a infection down there, and ulcers. So basically, he digs down, he drains it, and then what he does is a hoof is 2 panels, right? You got your right and your left. He'll glue a rubber pad on the healthy side, thus making the unhealthy side not touch the ground, right? He's basically putting a foot pad so that gets the unhealthy side, the weight off of it, and hopefully less shit on it, and give it time to heal. I watched it. Now, just for fun, just to prove my point, anytime I go to fucking YouTube, all these thumbnails are just dirty ass infected fucking cow hooves. It's like, I'm not that interested. I watched one video. Now you think I'm like, I have an interest in like dirty cow hooves?
well, you know, on a horse, what that part in the middle's called?
No, look, just scroll. I don't know if you can see this, but right there is a dirty cow hoof. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's actually playing the promo of him fixing somebody else's foot. That is, no, this one's entitled "Pus Squirts Out of a Huge Bull's Foot." And so now, like, I can't scroll through my.
Glad I ate already.
You know, and now they're giving me other people. So apparently, here's a horse hoof doctor, and so now it's like I'm a cattle rancher, and I like to spend my time. I can imagine this is what Cowboys YouTube live stream his looks like, but it's like every third video now is a nasty ass infected cow hoof thumbnail. It's like, I'm not that interested in it. I don't want to dislike his videos. Here's another.
You watch now. The problem is you watch more, and that's on YouTube too, isn't it?
Yeah.
You watch more and more will pop up, right?
Mm-hmm.
You make a mistake by watching one, you're fucked. When
Then
you
I'm
watch
like,
the
well,
second.
do they do that with my videos? When people like one of my videos, is my video?
Well,
thumbnails
you have to
all
look
over
at the amount of
timeline?
views they have versus yours.
Yeah, shut up. By the way, thank you guys so much last year for signing up for Patreon. We got some more Patreon subscribers at the end of the year. If you guys want to support this channel, please head over to d-410.com or the What's in Your Head podcast. I always say the What's in Your Head podcast as if that's the website, or what'sinyourhead.com. And click on the Patreon link if you're on your mobile phone or mobile device. Just the way the website works, you got to scroll all the way to the bottom to find the banner ads. Or you can just go to patreon.com and search for Digital 410. Sign up at the $1 a month. You got a $3.50 month plan and a $7 month plan. I just sent out a t-shirt last week to one of our $750 a month subscribers who just signed up 2 months ago. And I got another one I got to send out here in another 2 weeks. Also go to YouTube, look for Digital 410. Please like, subscribe, share us with your friend. We're at 550 now. We're getting closer to 1,000. Sadly, I'll be at 10,000 on TikTok, so a hell of a lot sooner I'll be to 1,000 on YouTube. Especially that gun video. I'm at the 9,700 and something now. But anyhow, please go like and subscribe there. And thanks to Act Computers for sponsoring this episode and all the podcasts on the Digital 410 network, with the exception of the fishing one. But anyhow, give them a call if you have any computer needs, technical needs. Even if you don't live in a state, they can help you remotely through their website. That's act-capecoral.com, or give them a call at 239-283-1120. Don't message us through Facebook. We don't get on Facebook that much. And if you send us a message, probably won't find it for a while.
The only time I ever watch the Facebook stuff is when we're live streaming.
Well, it's gotten so, and you manage this page, and 239-283-1120. You manage this page, you have your own account, and you have your personal account. Have you noticed in like the last 6 months when you try to switch, it sometimes doesn't go?
And it doesn't give me my third page either. It gives me this page for What's in Your Head and my personal page. I can't even find
you have to
my
go,
page.
You'll have to go to Gordon Abernathy personal account, and then instead of going to profiles, go to pages, and then it's because mine does same way.
Convoluted.
I can switch and manage D-Train. I can still manage Stan Haney. I can still manage this one and What's the Scuttlebutt. Failed to Fail in Southwest Florida.
Totally do some stuff on Junior if you really want.
Fail to Fail and my Southwest Florida World War II are both considered subgroups. I don't have full manageability of them. It's weird. But yeah, anyhow, my point being is I'll say, I want to post this on Facebook, and I'll switch over to D-Train, loading. So I'll kill the app, relaunch it, and it goes back to the previous profile. Maybe it's What's the Scuttlebutt. Go, switch D-Train, loading. And I'm fuck it. So if you guys have noticed, with the exception of our live streams, that my posting to Facebook has dropped substantially. Yes, much like everybody else, I did get burned out due to the elections, but now and interestingly enough, this seemed to happen once they switched their name to Meta. But the Facebook management app, the Facebook app is just, it runs like shit anymore. And there's so many times I'll give it 3 tries and then I'll kill it. Or there's times where I'll go to my Don Abernathy profile. Your session is timed out. Please enter the code. Okay, they get the code, copy, paste it in there, hit it, scroll down. Your session is timed out. I just did this. I'll have to do like 3 times in a row. And maybe your phone. I had the latest, greatest fucking Samsung. It can't be my phone. I guess it could be. But no, I had that problem with my LG too. It's been going on with their app for a while. So it's at the point now, it's like, why even bother? And so that's part of the reason why I don't post as much. Oh, bother.
Oh, bother.
Oh, bother. Monchichi. You sent me some show ideas. Were you wanting to do one of those, or you wanting to do the news and call it a life?
Let's do it in news and maybe work on those show ideas for next week. Just trying to get up and running again has been a bit
Joining
of a
us
struggle.
now from the Digital 410 West News Desk in Las Vegas, Nevada, Gordon Abernathy.
Gordon, how you doing tonight?
Oh,
real quick before getting the news. Speaking of Netflix, we just watched some fucking true crime show about the torso killer of New York City in 1977.
Mm-hmm.
The most interesting thing about that documentary is seeing Times Square in the 70s. But they spent an inordinate amount of time trying to justify prostitution to the point at which they refer to them as working girls. Back to you, Gordon.
Copenhagen, Denmark.
That's Copenhagen, thank you.
Copenhagen, Denmark.
I'm blowing the damn speaker again.
Conscripts in Norway have now been ordered to return their underwear, bras, and socks after the end of their military service so that the next group of recruits can use them.
That doesn't surprise me.
Nah, I think it get a little funky too.
Well, this may surprise you, and I didn't know, and I guess this still is true, and if not, you guys can email us at info@d-410.com or send us a message on Facebook. But I think it's still true. When you enlisted in the Marines in 1942, 43, 44, 45, all the way up until the 50s, you went to boot camp, you got in line, they gave you a bucket, some toiletries, underwears, socks, and a uniform, and charged you $25. Interestingly enough, you only made $20 a month in 1942. So you actually had to pay for your uniforms and all your stuff. And I know they still have to pay for the Class A uniforms because, interestingly enough, the Army, which I love, they brought back the pink and greens, which is the World War II style uniforms for the Class A. And so now when you see them on TV, you'll see them looking like 1940s. And I'm seeing all these posts of these cats saying, "This shit's expensive." It's like,
Oh, yeah.
No, I have to buy it too. So they're like paying, just because they're in the Army doesn't mean they're getting, no, they're paying basically reenactor prices for those uniforms that they got to wear now.
Minus the sales tax if they get
$200 jackets, $140 pants.
Well, the reason that the Norwegian military is doing this is they are stating that they are struggling with dwindling supplies due to part of the pandemic that never ends. The Norwegian Defense Logistics Organizations made the statement of a challenging stockpile situation. This move is necessary as it provides the armed forces.
The Norwegian government don't have a military-industrial complex. If they had a military-industrial complex, they would employ the Norwegian people over there. Yeah. Not all of them, but,
Well, I mean, there's the whole Buy USA Act for most government jobs. You'd think that would cover the military.
I don't care what your love or hate for Trump is. If people would just shut the fuck up and at least let him try to get some American manufacturing back. Imagine if he would have spent less time dealing with bullshit and more time trying to get more American manufacturing back, maybe our supply chain issues wouldn't hurt quite so bad.
I tell you, I tried listening to Joe Biden today, his stupid ass speech down there in Georgia about, all the voting rights stuff. And I've got two simple things. One, you have to be a citizen of the United States, and two, you got to show ID. That's it. But he was so hyperbolic, so angry, blaming everything on Trump and how these 19 states are running over people's rights and this and that. And I get it. I don't know everything that's going on, but those two things is all that needs to be covered. Like this shit going on in New York where the mayor had approved that as long as you are a resident alien, you can vote.
Mm-hmm.
I have a problem with
the new laws now where if you commit a crime with anything other than a gun, like if you rob a liquor store with a knife, it's a misdemeanor, not a felony.
Yeah, it's insane, and I just don't understand how they can think that way. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, our crime is up. Well, no shit, Sherlock. But anyway, back to Copenhagen.
Copenhagen. Military
So, they're doing proper checks and cleaning and reuse of garments and considered adequate and then sound practice. So until recently, the roughly 8,000 men and women who every year do the military service, wow, that's small, return their clothing were allowed to leave the barracks with their underwear and socks until they were used. So supply chain issues are definitely affecting military in smaller countries. I'm sure the same with us.
Yeah, we've gotta start making shit here again.
You're gonna pay for it.
I mean, not to turn us into the What's the Scuttlebutt podcast, but part of the reason why Japan bombed us at Pearl Harbor is because we cut off access to their fucking oil that they buy from us and the supplies they needed from us, and we froze their fucking assets and their Japanese-based, owned companies here in the United States, and so they're like, fuck it, we got to do something. That could easily be done to us nowadays since none of our shit's manufactured here. People can just start putting embargoes on our shit.
We're kind of in a soft version of that with the ships. It's funny because you don't hear about it now. That's because they push the ships further offshore. They're 40 plus miles out.
Okay, out of sight, out of mind.
Kind of like you don't hear about that anymore, and you don't hear about Kazakhstan very much in the news either. And that place is fucking falling apart.
They literally
And Russia's
haven't-
in there, and they said they're quote unquote. And I actually read this in the AP. And it's not. We were told to liquidate protesters.
because the protesters literally had it. The civilians were basically rounding up and arresting their military, and the military like, hey, we don't want to fight you guys, and so they literally had a fucking coup.
Yeah, everybody resigned in the government except for the president. A lot of the military and cops and decided to join the protesters after a certain amount of time. But it sounds like they've got Russia moving out of there. They've done their job. So we'll see if that plays out well, because that right there is a key piece to Russia and China.
It's 2022.
Because of the uranium and oil. They got both. Shaun White. Remember Shaun White?
Yeah, I follow him on TikTok. He just does videos where he eats cereal, watching other people snowboarding videos, and the comments on them. It's like 3 million fucking likes.
He's still going for the Olympics at the age of 35. Mammoth Mountain, California, coming in from the AP. Shaun White arrived at Mammoth Mountain hoping to lock a spot for his 5th Olympic team. The snowboarding superstar left it with his ankle hurting, and work still left to do. So White put together a solid run during qualifying at the U.S. Grand Prix on Saturday night, but aggravated a lingering ankle issue. I know all about those in the process, and he opted not to participate in the finale. Or the finals. So it led to a strange sight of a portion of the U.S. Olympic snowboarding and freestyle team being announced later Saturday night without Mr. White, who has redefined the sport. And I remember watching him.
Why can't I be Mr. Brown?
when
Because
he
Mr. Brown's on a job somewhere else, Mr. Pink. Oh, go ahead.
Nice Reservoir Dog reference. So, yeah, I remember watching him when he was just a wee tyke, mid-90s. And we were always like, this guy's going to be good, and he was. I know he's been suffering injuries for a while. Hopefully he gets better. I don't think we're going to see him in the Olympics, but you never know. That things happen. And then I just got one quick COVID story, and I do apologize, but I thought it was a little weird. That out of Baston, 2 dogs are trained to detect the odor distinct to people who are sick with COVID-19 will visit 3 school districts in Bristol County this week.
That's guy in California. You got to get COVID tests, like I think daily or weekly to go back to school in California, and you can't even get them, which is all more excuses not to go back to school.
Especially when that whole 100-plus employee thing went in effect on the 10th. And that may be why the lines are so long, but you can't get the home ones. And then you go
they're actually
to the few sites here, and the lines are like 4, 5, 6 hours long.
I heard tonight that the Supreme Court is looking at this 100-plus nonsense, and I think they've already said it's unconstitutional, or at least the first round. I don't know.
Well, we'll have to look at it. But one of them's a black Labrador named Hunter, a golden Labrador named Duke, that can detect the smell of the virus on surfaces and will sit when they indicate they pick up the scent, which is probably everywhere right now.
Such a good use of manpower.
We have some people going out with the coof, second round. One of them actually got sick the 2 days before I did. But with COVID, whether it's Omicron or whether it's Delta, our dogs will hit on it, according to. But what's interesting, what really caught my attention, the dogs trained using the detection program developed by the Florida International University's International Forensic Research Institute. Holy crap, let's say that one more time.
Can't put that on a business card.
Yeah, well, the problem is I think they fucked up because International's in there twice. Florida International University's International Forensic Research.
Dodge. You said dodge twice.
Oh, dear God. And then one more. Quickie.
Well, what I was saying about waste of resources and manpower, there was a TikTok video out in New York where there's like 8 cops in front of a Burger King. Their job was to arrest people who refused to leave the Burger King because they would not produce their vaccination cards in order to get a hamburger. And it's just so nice to know that New York City is such a utopia and they have no crime. Their crime rate's at 0 that they could
Meanwhile, a
send,
guy's running down the street.
they
right
can
in front of
send
with a
20
television.
cops to stand in front of fucking Burger King and arrest people who don't have vaccination cards. It's all such a waste of fucking manpower. It's ridiculous. Now they're taking drug sniffing dogs and teaching them to smell COVID and fucking sending them out, paying 2 cops probably 40 grand a year.
Meanwhile, those cops are there to get the
Yeah,
those non-vaccine card producing derelicts out of there. 2 doors down, Jed was with a non-lethal weapon robbing a place.
or you
So-
fucking down at the Saks Fifth Avenue busting in windows and stealing $40,000 worth of property. But hey, as long as you got your COVID card, why you doing it? Go for
We're
it.
starting to see that little bit of that going on here, just people walking in and stealing shit. But out here, they will prosecute. So, they may have come from California thinking it's the same thing. Ain't going to happen. Your ass is going to get caught. But real quick, I don't know if you've seen this story. Kind of popped up. Don't know how far over in the news it's been. It's been quick. But where the fuck did it go? Live deer found in trunk's hatchback during a traffic stop.
Where do you put your live deer?
In the ground or in my belly.
Live
He ain't
deer?
live by the time I get him.
Speaking of which, I've been watching, I'm on season 3 of Meat Eater on Netflix.
That's a good show.
I will say, the animal lover in me, I dip my toe into that one. I watched the first episode. Okay, I can handle that. Okay, I'm going to skip down to the fishing episode, but I've been watching them all carry. I can't handle this. Because as I was saying when David was on, I'm really thinking about maybe going out on a hunt one day. So I'm just kind of getting myself over the upset tummy of seeing animals killed. But I'm into season 2.5, maybe season 3 now. So.
My question is how this live deer ended up in there. Now, it makes sense, the condition of the people or person. Police pulled over a suspected drunken or drug driver in Pennsylvania discovered a live deer that had apparently been hit and then placed in the hatchback of her car.
Good
So
eating.
obviously it was hit by a car. The animal was freed after the stop Thursday by the police. The occupants told
You
the
got a tag
officer
for
they
that?
were- Huh?
You got a tag for that?
Yeah. Occupants told police officers they realized the deer was still alive, but kept driving anyway. Probably because it was kicking around and making all sorts of noise back there. Be quiet. Steak. So police told the passenger to release the deer, which has been a video posted by police struggling as it was carried across the road. The 19-year-old driver has been investigated for suspicion of driving under the influence
I'm going
of
to assume
alcohol
it was
or
a
drugs.
doe or a small fawn because I don't see a 19-year-old picking up a fucking, even with dead weight, buck.
Yeah, something's even a doe, but yeah, that's kind of interesting. Now people are popping up with deers in their car. I'm just watching everything else going on, thinking, "Oh dear God!"
Deer, rain,
Beginning
a
of the
drop
end.
of golden sun. Me,
This
a
concludes the
name I
evening
call
news,
myself.
and now back to the ACT Computer Studio in Cape Coral, Florida.
Thank you. And before we go, Gordon, you have an Android phone. And if you swipe to the left, you'll get the news feed that they suggest to you.
Yep.
And it's so funny because we all know that they all listen on everything we do and they track and they trade. And, I've been, as I said, I've already ran a shitload of miles this month and posting pictures on Instagram. And lo and behold, my Pandora commercials are about gym memberships and buying fucking Pelotons and all the advertisements. But anyhow, so I swiped left and I saw something that just kind of shows where we are heading down that Wally road of the human blob. You've been going to the gym yourself. Been trying to work out and get fitness, and you and I often complain about people who don't rack their weights.
Yep.
It's like, well, aren't you here to lift weights? Lift that shit and carry it back over to the rack. Part of your workout. People can't do it because we're getting lazy. I saw an ad. Title said, and I did TikTok on this, Alexa can now adjust your NordicTrack adjustable dumbbells. You've seen Bowflex had this for a while. They look weird, and you put them down, and you click the clicker, and then weights will fall off when you pick them back up. So have you seen those?
I have not, but you made me think about that South Park with Alexa being a moody bitch.
But so apparently Bowflex's patent is worn out on these, and theirs were manual. Basically, they look it looks insane. Like you have your dumbbell, and you put it down this holder, and it slides in the slots of different plates, and you adjust the weight number, and when you pick it up, it has the coinciding amount of plates, right?
Fun fact, do you know who owns NordicTrack? Or sorry, Bowflex. I just said it.
NordTrack?
Yeah.
Well, apparently the new NordTrack ones are digital. So instead of having the mechanical button, so you can put it down in its weight station, say Alexa, set it to 20 pounds, and it'll automatically. Are you here to work out or aren't you? Taking the
Now
time.
these are NordTrack weights, right?
The article said, and I took.
Oh, and the reason I'm saying is maybe the patent didn't expire. They just fucking own it.
But either way, I'm not worried about the patent. My more concern is that Alexa can change the weights on your NordTrack adjustable dumbbells. Are you here to work out or aren't you?
Yeah.
So come
Well,
on.
it's like the people go to the gym where I'm at and they take the elevator to the second floor.
That elevator
I
should
am
be,
not kidding.
That elevator should strictly be for people in wheelchairs or hover scooters. But sad
And
thing
these
is,
are the guys that walk around with the head smaller than the rest of them. They got the weight belt and a gallon of water.
I can't walk stairs. Oh, I'm going to pull the trigger. After 13 long years at Planet Fitness,
Yep.
I called Crunch Fitness today, and their basic model plan is $9.99 a month, just like Planet Fitness. Even though I got the $20 a month plan, Planet Fitness.
You getting the basic bitch plan?
Well, that's all I need because I have a mixed fitness
I got
bike. It looks just like a Peloton right here in front of me. I use it. As I already read, I've already put in, like, I don't know, fucking 8 miles this month on it. And I run like a bastard. And the last time I went to Planet Fitness, I'm looking around, and once again, I've been going there for 13 years, so I'm not mad dogging on fucking Planet Fitness. I've had a lot of, I've fucking the weak melodies in the hospital. I spent a lot of mornings there fucking getting frustration out, breaking down, crying on weight benches. But anyhow, I've spent a lot of time in that fucking Planet Fitness. But I'm looking around, I'm like, this place is basically a cardio gym, which there's no problem with that. If you don't have a bike at home, you're not out running. But for the type of training I'm doing now from these OCR events, I need something more along the line of a poor man's CrossFit type style. And Crunch Fitness has a 40 rung monkey bar, perfect. They have the squat stations where you squat the medicine ball and you throw it up and hit the octagon like target on the wall. They got like the 30-inch jump squats, but more importantly, they have 2 sleds you can fill full of weights and push them. They have more of the, the pull down ropes and the fucking horizontal whipping ropes. And as Gordon and I were talking, I've been going to Planet Fitness for so long, I never even thought about this. Their bench presses are hydraulically assisted. And what I mean by that, they're going to call them self-spotting, right? And so they have a safety thing you can adjust so that the bar can only go so low, but the bars are literally attached to 2 hydraulic rods so that you can't go left or right, and if you put the adjustment, you can't crush yourself. Fine. Great. You think you're doing good. You're bench pressing 130, 140 pounds. Well, then you go somewhere else where it's a free weight. And now you're not getting the full workout because you're not dealing with the left, right, back,
What
and front.
happened to me, man? I was lifting way more than this.
Yeah. And so, I think it's just time. I'm just going
I
to.
tell you, our gym has something I've never seen until I went there, and it's the best bench press invention ever. So, you usually got to reach back a little to lift the bar.
Yeah.
This actually, it'll rock forward to get it right where it needs to be, and then you lift up. So that prevents injuries up here.
Well, and that's the other thing about because I've been to Crunch once or twice on a guest pass. Like all their butterfly machines, all their stationary machines, they all lean back. So as you're doing butterfly, the thing leans back and then comes forward. They're all like free motion. And the other complaint about Planet Fitness is they only have 2 of each weights. So you get in there, and Sheila and Debbie are in there. And
They got both.
They got both 20s, both 25s, both 15s.
Now, are they doing reps at the same time, then they set them both down at the same time?
They take all of them over to the area behind the pony wall, and they'll set the 10s, the 15s, the 20s, and the 25s down. Both have their own. And so while they're working out with the 15s each, the 10s, the 20s, and the 25s are sitting there. No one else can use them. It's like, what the fuck,
And
chicks?
you got to ask you, excuse me.
Going back to, are we here or aren't we? Go grab your 20 pounds. Go walk over there. You're burning calories. You're walking. You're carrying 40 pounds. So you're weight walking. Do your 3 sets. Put them down. Breathe in, breathe out. Pick them back out. Do 3 more sets. Put them down. Pick them back up. Do 3 more sets. Carry them back. switch weights and somebody else. And so you see a lot of that there. And so it's just like,
Now,
it's time
the
to
one
move
thing
on.
I've gotten lazy with, and I agree with you 100%, but when it comes to the bench press, those things cycle people through them so quick that we just leave a 45.
I take
45's on there.
I take them off because what if you're a chick and you just started? You've only been going there a month and you can barely bench the bar. So now she's going to say, well, fuck, I can't pick up a 45-pound plate, so now I can't use that piece of equipment. I got to wait for Steve to get off of his.
Let me expound upon that. That's usually at 5 in the morning when it's nothing but a bunch of meatheads in there anyway.
Yeah, I still take because once again, it's part of my workout. Not only am I
Slippery
bench pressing, it's part of my workout. Not only am I benching, but now I gotta pull that 40-pound squat down, slide it on that super extremely low to the ground pole, and so.
And I've been guilty, and it's usually when I'm in a hurry trying to bang out a workout to get to work, because in the morning, in the afternoon, not so much. In the morning, I'm in a hurry. And it's not really a good way to do workouts. But
And my plan,
I actually haven't been going because the dog's wheel is healing. So.
And my Planet Fitness closes at 7 on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, which I get. You want to give your employees time off. So, but it's not a big deal because I got the black card. Ooh, fancy. So I went over to the North Fort Myers Planet Fitness, and their rope machine thingy, where you do this, bang ropes.
Yeah.
It was so damn close to the wall that you couldn't get the ropes fully extended. It's like, so even this Planet Fitness, they're trying to cram machines in to get people in there that they don't even have room for. So you can't even fully extend these fucking ropes because there's not enough room. And
Yeah,
so,
I tell you, even our gym that's like 75,000 square feet, it's run out of room. It's the newer ones are good, but the CrossFit areas, they actually had busted out a back of the house area, and did a nice remodel job, but it's not big enough.
Well, the Planet Fitness give them credits. These are franchisees. They go down, they'll rent out an old fucking Kmart or something, and so they're not built to suit. Whereas the Crunch Fitness, they actually built their facility. It's 2 stories, and they have all their treadmills and bikes on the 2nd floor. So down on the first floor.
Do they got that indoor track too?
I don't know. They got hot yoga, which I have no interest in. They got
Just you do yoga outside in Florida in the summer.
So downstairs is all the CrossFit type-esque area and all the free weights and the machines, and upstairs all the bikes and the bikes and the treadmills and all that stuff. And they've got the Bikram yoga, which you can't call Bikram yoga because turns out he was a pervert and he got canceled. So now they just call it hot yoga. But anyhow, I digress. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of the What's in Your Head podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining us for another episode, and hope you guys enjoyed your 2 weeks off. We really didn't get into Christmas and what we did on New Year's because after you've been gone for 2 weeks, all the thoughts and feelings and the newness of this topic of conversation have already sailed by you, and you really don't feel like telling those stories again. And, well, let's face it, we're all in our 40s, and that shit's not that exciting much more. Anyhow, we will talk to you guys next Tuesday at our normally scheduled time, and I should maybe have some adventures to talk about because if things go to plan, I will be sleeping in the ground in Georgia this weekend.
This has been a Digital 410 production.